Any polite conversation starts with a greeting. There are many ways to greet someone, and your choice will depend on who you're talking to. It may be an informal conversation with a friend or an acquaintance, someone you know, but not very well, or you may use a more formal dialogue when having an English conversation with a colleague, a teacher, a stranger, or a government employee. In fact, getting comfortable speaking with strangers is a great way to boost your speaking skills and confidence level in English. However, it's important to note that there are a few different ways in which English speakers will spark up a conversation with a stranger.
Conversation tip number 1. Be friendly. The first key to feeling relaxed and getting over your fear is to have a good time and be friendly. Smile and enjoy the experience of meeting someone new. If you can relax and enjoy getting to know someone, then that will be felt by the other person and it will put them at ease. Talking with someone who is super serious and has a grave expression is rarely enjoyable, so why put someone else through that? Relax your face and turn that frown upside down. Talk to people as you would talk to a friend, and they may just become one. Conversation tip number 2. Take the pressure off. A lot of fear around starting conversations comes from putting pressure on yourself to have a certain result from the conversation. So, stop having specific expectations about what will happen. Whatever happens, happens. Don't expect anything from yourself or the other person other than getting to know them a little better. Also, don't force a topic or be aggressive in what you're trying to say. That type of energy is a turn-off to someone you've just met. Let the conversation flow naturally. Finally, realize that you don't need to become best friends with your conversation partner. There are millions of native speakers out there, so becoming friends with this one person won't determine your success. If the conversation doesn't go well, that's okay.
Conversation tip number 3. Remember, the world doesn't revolve around you. Don't make the conversation only about yourself. Try to ask questions about the other person's life. Only interject things about yourself when they are actually relevant to the topic. What if they ask you a question about yourself? Answer it, but then ask them the same question. Often people ask questions they secretly want to be asked themselves, so turn the question around and see what your conversation partner has to say. The most important thing is to not be forceful or seem desperate. Bring things up naturally and casually. People should never feel pressured to talk with you, so help them feel comfortable. Conversation tip number 4. Be between asking questions or talking about something. Don't make something up just because you memorized a particular phrase. For example, don't say, "I love cats too," if you actually hate cats. Or avoid saying, "My uncle works in a factory," when you don't even have an uncle, let alone one that works in a factory. Make sure you say things that are true, even if it means searching for the words you need. Otherwise, you could end up in a really awkward situation. Conversation tip number 5. Avoid closed-loop questions, questions that can only be answered with yes or no, or called closed-loop questions, because they close down the conversation. Open-loop questions work much better when your aim is to keep a conversation going. Let's look at the difference between these through a couple of examples. Instead of asking the closed question, "Do you like apple juice?" ask the open question, "What is your favorite type of juice?" Or, instead of asking, "Do you like spaghetti?" you can ask, "How often do you eat Italian food?" Open-loop questions invite further discussion, whereas a yes or no question usually only invites an end to the conversation. Now that you have the right mindset, let's get into tips for having topics to talk about.